Okay, I would love to show you guys how to deal with rational exponents. Now, what do I mean rational? A rational is any number that can be written as a fraction. So you've actually dealt with rational exponents before. If I've ever said something like, okay, what's 3 to the second power? This exponent 2 is also a rational number. It can be written as a fraction like 2 over 1. It's just that you've never thought it as a fraction. So more specifically, instead of showing you how to deal with exponents that you already know how to deal with, I'm going to show you how to deal with exponents when it actually is some kind of fraction like m over n. Well, what I want to show you is that really the denominator just introduces that it's a root. So if I see a to the m over n power, m is still what you know an exponent to be. It says that's how many times you got to multiply it. But what the denominator does is it turns it into whatever kind of root that is. So if the bottom is an n, then you're doing the nth root. But like I said, whatever the exponent is that you are familiar with, that actually remains as an exponent. So this is still raised to the m power. You're still going to multiply this thing by itself that many times. It's just that when you introduce a denominator, it turns it into that type of root. Now, it's probably hard to understand with variables in here. So the best way to show you is just with numbers. If I say what's 32 to the 3/5 power, I notice that I have a denominator here. This denominator is saying that you want to take the root of 32 first. Well, what type of root? Specifically, that denominator. So I want to take the 5th root of 32. Whatever the denominator is, that is the type of root you need to take. But I still have a numerator. Well, that's still what you know an exponent to be. That's how many times it needs to be multiplied, so to the 3rd power. Now, I just apply it like this, and I do the root first, and then I do the exponent next. So let's work our way on the inside of the parentheses first. What's the 5th root of 32? Well, the 5th root of 32 is 2. That's because 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 multiplies to give you 32. But you still have to raise that to the 3rd power. So what's 2 to the 3rd power? 2 to the 3rd power is 8. Which means if I go back to the beginning, 32 to the 3/5 power is actually 8. That's your answer. Now, let's do one more, just so you feel more comfortable with it. What about 64 to the 2/3 power? Again, because I see a denominator, I actually have a root that I want to take. I'm going to take the cubed root. Notice the denominator tells me the type of root. So we're going to take the cubed root of 64. After we take the cubed root of 64, I'm then going to raise the entire thing to the 2nd power because the numerator always tells you how many times you have to multiply it by itself. Now, let's do the inside first. What is the cubed root of 64? What number multiplied by itself 3 times gives you 64? Well, 4. But we still have to raise that 4 to the 2nd power. So what's 4 to the 2nd power? 16. So what you just figured out is 64 to the 2/3 power is actually 16.